The first sound isn't words, it's a cough, wet, ragged, echoing from somewhere you can't see. Then another, closer this time. Your quill scratches against parchment. The ink blotting as your hand trembles. One more name added to the endless list of the dead. Leather squeaks as you pull the gloves tighter, the sound like an animal gasping its last breath. You reach for the mask, long, curved, grotesque. The beak looms before your face, its hollow eyes staring back at you. Inside, herbs and vinegar sting your nose so sharply it feels like fire in your lungs. You fasten it on. The world muffles instantly, voices turn to echoes, the stench of rot replaced by choking sweetness. A child glimpses you through a cracked door and screams. A woman spits into the dust and makes the sign of the cross. To them, you are no man at all. You are death given shape, a bird of ill omen walking their streets. And as you step outside into the night of burning incense and morning bells, the truth presses down. Your job is not to heal, it's to walk with the dying. It is the middle of the 14th century, and the world itself feels as though it is rotting. In one season, entire villages vanish. The bells toll not for the few, but for the hundreds. The Black Death spreads faster than sermons, faster than rumors, faster even than hope. Doctors flee in the first weeks, their knowledge useless against a disease that laughs at poultices and prayers. Priests close their doors, refusing last rites, lest they join their flock in shallow graves. The courts and councils, terrified and cornered, are left with a problem no one wishes to touch: who will tend to the dying? So the city turns to you, not because you are gifted, not because you are brave. Plague doctors are rarely the shining stars of medicine. More often, you are the failed physicians, the barbers who once drew teeth, the desperate men who had no other path. You are not chosen for your brilliance. You are chosen because you are expendable. The bargain is written in neat Latin script, a contract. For as long as you serve, you are promised coin enough to feed your family, free lodging near the afflicted, and hazard pay for every month you survive. But think hides its own cruel joke. The council whispers, you are worth more dead than alive. The moment you stop breathing, your family collects. So you sign, quill scratching beneath a flickering candle, knowing your life has already been sold not to the city, but to the plague. Before you step into the streets, you must first bury yourself in layers. The robe comes first, a linen soaked in animal fat or wax, slick and heavy, meant to repel the miasma. The poison air people believed carried the plague. You pull it over your shoulders and feel the weight drag you down like wet cloth. It is less armor, more coffin. Then, the mask, a long, grotesque beak of leather, curved and hollow. You pack it with cloves, rosemary, myrrh, and dried roses. I've apothecary's garden shoved up against your face. The scent is so strong it claws down your throat, sweet and choking, until every breath tastes like flowers rotting in vinegar. To the living, the mask makes you look like a vulture circling the dying. To you, it is nothing but a prison. Finally, the cane. Not for walking, for distance. With it, you prod bodies, turn them over, keep the desperate from clutching at your robes. It is the only thing standing between you and touch of the one gesture that might carry death into your own veins. And yet, it doesn't work. The uniform gives the illusion of safety, but the truth stalks closer with every step. The fleas that carry the plague crawl easily under leather, past waxed linen, laughing at your herbs. Now imagine, it is summer. The sun beats down. Inside this blackened oven of cloth and vinegar, sweat pours until you stink of your own fear before you've even touched the corpse. This is your armor. This is your cage. This is how you become a walking omen of death. Each morning begins the same, the bell tolls, they are already thick with the sour stench of rot, and you step into streets where shutters slam at the sound of your cane. Your first task is not to heal, but to mark. With thick black paint you smear a cross on doors where the plague has entered. Sometimes the wood is still warm from the hands of the family inside, begging you not to brand them as lost. Sometimes no one answers at all. Then come the ledgers, pages of names, ages, addresses written in ink that shakes when your hand sweats beneath the mask. The record is crude, but final. One line for a father, another for his wife, three more for the children who coughed themselves into silence overnight. When you close the book, their lives become numbers, the carts follow, wooden wheels groaning under the weight of bodies stacked like firewood. You order them hauled to the pits of great, gaping trenches where lime and earth smother the moans of those not quite dead. The earth trembles when the carts dip. And yet, the true horror is not what you see, it is what you hear. The wail of a child left alone because no one will enter the house. The hushed sobs of a widow as she bargains with you, pressing coins into your gloved hand, begging you to write her husband's name in a different column. The silence of entire households extinguished in one night, where even the rats have fled. To the people, you are more than a man. You are a sign. When the beaked mask appears, hope drains like blood from a wound. Some cross themselves, some spit, children run, and you know why. You don't heal the sick, you catalog the dead. The cane is no longer just a tool, it is your lifeline. You prod bodies to check for movement. You lift blankets without bending close. You even point at sores rather than risk brushing against infected skin. Each motion is careful, measured, rehearsed. Because one mistake, one touch is enough to damn you. And yet, desperation does not respect distance. There are stories whispered among plague doctors, a mother clutching at your waxed robe, pressing her dying child into your arms, begging you to do something. Her fingers leave smears on the fabric as you step back, pushing her away with the cane. Knowing her child will not see the morning, this is the paradox of the beak. The mask makes you untouchable, a figure both feared and revered. But it also makes you unreachable. Friends cross the street rather than brush your sleeve. Lovers avert their eyes, terrified that your lips might still taste of vinegar and decay. Even your own children, if you have any left, are warned not to hug you. And so the true contagion is not just the plague. It is loneliness. The mask traps you in silence, in sweat, in solitude. You become a ghost while still breathing, an exile inside your own skin. Historical truth: many plague doctors didn't die first from infection. They died from the slow suffocation of isolation, their bodies found locked inside uniforms that had become coffins of leather and cloth. In the end, you realize, fear has its own epidemic. And yours is spread by touch. By night, when the streets fall silent except for the distant rattle of death carts, you light a single candle. Its flame flickers across your ledger, not of contracts or payments, but of bodies. Names when they can be known, symptoms when you can still distinguish them, the swelling of the buboes in the groin and armpit, the blackening fingertips, the fever that melts men into delirium before the rats finish them. Sometimes, curiosity overcomes fear. You cut open the dead carefully, secretly. The church forbids it, calling it desecration. But you cannot turn away. Inside, you find blood thick as tar, lungs drowning in fluid, organs that look as though they've been boiled alive. You dip your quill and sketch the shapes, crude but true, and wonder if anyone will ever read these words. Because knowledge is dangerous. If you record too much, if you question too loudly, you risk another fire, not of plague, but of men in robes declaring your work heresy. You've seen doctors' notes tossed into the flames, the truth erased to preserve ignorance. And yet, in these pages, you stumble into the future, keeping the sick apart from the well, burning infected clothes, quarantining ships before they dock. Measures that whisper of something beyond superstition. You don't know it now, but your candlelit notes are seeds. Seeds that, one day, will grow into medicine. Dark humor lingers as your hand cramps around the quill. I am paid to chase death. But if I stumble upon life, they might burn me for it. The city promised you silver coins, warm bread, and a bed of your own. They promised respect, that you would be honored as a shield against the plague. But what you really inherit is suspicion, distance, and a silence that seeps into your bones. When you pass through the marketplace, mothers pull their children behind them. They whisper prayers as if your shadow carries infection. At first you tell yourself it's fear of the mask. Later, you realize it's fear of you. You've become the walking emblem of death, and death has no friends. At home, if you have a home, you sit apart. No kiss from a wife. No hand from a child. Your contract ensures they'll be paid when you're gone, but while you breathe, you may as well already be a ghost. And when the mask comes off, your face is not your own anymore. The skin is chafed red and raw, etched with deep lines where leather pressed for hours. The vinegar-soaked herbs have burned your throat until every cough feels like a knife. The cruel irony, the mask was built to protect you. But it doesn't. It only marks you forever as one who walks with the dying. The ledger of your life ends quickly. A cough that lingers too long, a boo-boo that swells beneath your arm, a fever that melts your strength. You die as countless others did, not with ceremony, but with haste. Your body is dumped into a pit of lime and ash, shoveled over with the rest. No marker, no prayer, not even a name scratched on stone. But your mask outlives you. Children, decades later, draw it in the margins of their parchment of the long beak, the hollow eyes. In Venice, the mask resurfaces as carnival attire, transformed from symbol of terror into grotesque theater. Centuries later, it returns again, painted on festival walls, etched in horror films, paraded on stages where no one remembers the real bodies you counted, the real streets you walked. The bitter truth. You failed at your duty. You did not stop the Black Death. No plague doctor did, yet you succeeded. In something darker, you became its face. A shape so tied to suffering that it can outlast memory itself. And so the plague is gone. The pits are silent. But your shadow walks every masquerade, every nightmare, every whisper of fear. You were never a healer. You were death's witness. The candle gutters low, your quill scratches one last name in the ledger, and you set the mask down on the table. Its hollow eyes stare back, daring you to pick it up again. So tell me, if you were handed the mask, would you wear it? Or would you let the city burn? Would you have survived even a single day as a plague doctor, walking between the living and the dead? If this journey into forgotten lives left you unsettled, subscribe. Because the past still has secrets, and they want you to see them.